Sagrada Familia, a church still rising after 140 years in the heart of Barcelona, among narrow streets and stone buildings, rises a true marvel of architecture, the Basilica of the Holy Family, or as the world knows it, Sagrada Familia. This is no ordinary church. It is one of the longest construction projects in human history, a dream carved in stone, passed from generation to generation, a temple born from faith, built by genius, and still under construction to this very day. The idea to build a grand Catholic temple in Barcelona was born in 1866. A devout bookseller named Josep Maria Boccabella, inspired by a pilgrimage to the Vatican, wanted to create a spiritual sanctuary in Catalonia. In 1882, after years of fundraising, construction began under architect Francisco del Villar. But just a year later, a young and visionary architect took over the project, Antoni Gaudí. And it was he who transformed the church from a simple neo-Gothic design into a living sculpture of faith and imagination. Antoni Gaudí would devote over 40 years of his life to Sagrada Familia, and the last 15 years exclusively. He reimagined the entire structure, designing a style now known as modernist Gothic inspired by nature, infused with Christian symbolism, and built using mathematical precision and organic forms. Gaudí didn't just build a church. He created a stone prayer. His architecture mirrored the patterns of the natural world: trees, spirals, honeycombs, light. He once said, "The straight line belongs to man. The curved line belongs to God." The church was designed with three grand facades. The Nativity facade, joyful and ornate, the only one Gaudí saw completed. The Passion facade, stark, emotional, and dramatic. The Glory facade, still under construction, and meant to be the largest and most powerful of all. At the center would rise a colossal tower, the central spire of Jesus Christ, measuring 172 meters, just 1 meter shorter than Montjuic Hill, because no man-made work should surpass the work of God. In 1926, Gaudí died tragically after being hit by a tram. At the time of his death, only about 15–20% of the church was completed. But he had left behind models, drawings, and calculations, a roadmap for future generations. However, the 20th century brought enormous challenges. In 1936, during the Spanish Civil War, parts of the basilica were damaged, and Gaudí's workshop was burned. Many of his original plans were lost. In the 1950s, reconstruction resumed, led by architects like Francesc Quintana and Isidre Puig. The goal was not to replicate Gaudí exactly, but to stay true to his spirit using modern tools. Some critics questioned whether the church should even be completed, but work pressed on. Craftsmen, engineers, sculptors all continued to bring Gaudí's vision to life. By the 1980s and 1990s, technology became part of the process. Architects began using 3D modeling and digital analysis to reconstruct Gaudí's lost designs and to guide construction. In 2010, a historic event occurred. Pope Benedict XVI consecrated Sagrada Familia, declaring it an official basilica. Since then, it has hosted baptisms, weddings, and regular masses. The Passion facade was completed in 2018, a dramatic contrast to the joyful nativity side. Sculptor Josep Maria Subirachs created raw, geometric figures that express pain, sacrifice, and redemption. Today, the construction is funded almost entirely by donations and ticket sales. Over 4 million visitors per year support the work. Originally, the goal was to finish the church by 2026, marking 100 years since Gaudí's death. But the COVID-19 pandemic delayed construction, and there is now no set completion date. Much of the structure is now complete. Work is focused on finishing the central towers, especially the Jesus Christ spire, which will make Sagrada Familia the tallest church in the world. Inside, the basilica is breathtaking. Light floods in through stained glass windows, creating a kaleidoscope of colors. The columns soar like tree trunks, branching into vaulted ceilings. It feels like standing in a sacred forest. This is more than a building. It's a poetic fusion of faith, nature, geometry, and devotion unlike anything else on Earth. Sagrada Familia is a story of patience, a vision born over 140 years ago, still alive. still alive, a testament that art and purpose can outlive the artist, and that when humanity builds with meaning, the work becomes eternal. Gaudi once said, "My client is not in a hurry. God has all the time in the world." And perhaps that's why this church still rises, not rushed, but with purpose. A place where every stone is a note in a timeless symphony of belief.